Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here. Back to Pluto again. Now, this is a recent image of the surface of Pluto. Now, this particular image here is quite poor quality, but the probe is still quite a long way out, the New Horizons probe. So I wouldn't really expect to see amazing quality stuff just yet, because even though it does have a pretty good telescope on board, it's not really capable of seeing real up close detail yet. So let's crack on with it. Now, I'll give you a little bit of info about this as we go along, and I will have all the links, the relevant links to these pages also. I'm sure most of you are quite capable of reading this yourselves, so I'll let you do that. But this is the fascinating icy plains region resembling frozen mud cracks on Earth has been informally named Sputnik Planum, in other words Sputnik Plane, after the Earth's first artificial satellite. It has a broken surface of irregularly shaped segments roughly 12 miles across, bordered by what appear to be shallow troughs. Some of these troughs have darker material within them, while others are traced by clumps of hills and appear to rise above the surrounding terrain. Elsewhere, the surface appears to be etched by fields of small pits that may have formed by a process called sublimation, in which ice turns directly from solid to gas, just as dry ice does on Earth. Right, so obviously this is part of the heart shape. This is right in the middle of the heart shape feature on the planet, which has been shown in recent images, which you've probably all seen. And I've also got this page up here. This is the Wiki Page about the New Horizons project, and it goes into some detail here about the camera, which is a 1 meg camera, which is, a lot of people say, well, why the hell have they only got a 1 meg camera? Well, it was built 10 years ago, this thing, and it's not all about pixels, even though it is better to have more generally. The more meg you have on the camera, it just makes the images larger. Doesn't necessarily make them better, because really the quality of the picture is down to the lenses, and this has a huge aperture. This thing, it's got an 8.2 inch aperture, giving off a resolution of 5 urad, whatever that means. I'm not an expert on these things exactly, but it's got a powerful aperture, so it's designed to take in an awful lot of light and take photos at very low light conditions, which is of course what you need when you're out in space, a long way off. So, and I'll just read this bit out here. For the viewing public websites, the 12-bit per pixel lorry images are converted to 8-bit per pixel JPEG images. These public images do not contain the full dynamic range of brightness information available to the raw lorry image files. In other words, they're compressing the raw images down to lower quality JPEGs, which is what we're getting. And the problem is, when the images are only 1 meg to start with, that means you're going to get even less information, and especially when we're further out like we are now, the images aren't going to look great, because they're obviously zooming in a long way, and they're probably clipping the images down as well, and compressing them as well. So do bear that in mind. So let's crack on with it. You can read all this stuff up yourself. There's also this page which shows the different instruments here and what they do. There's the infrared camera and various other instruments for reading the temperatures and atmospheric conditions and all that sort of thing. So you can have a look at that as well. It's quite interesting. And there's the student dust counter there, which is a student project to collect dust, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, right, so let's crack on with the images. Now, this is the image. Now, this is completely raw. I've done absolutely nothing to this. This is as it comes. It's not a very big file, this. It's only something like 250 kilobytes or something. Hang on, let's have a look here and see. Oh no, it's just under 500 kilobytes. But this is a composite image, so basically it's made up of more than one photograph, and you can actually see the stitch mark along the bottom here. So there's at least 2 images stitched together, possibly more. It might even be 3. So now, when I looked at this, I thought, there's not much to see here. But when you go in close, it does break up a hell of a lot, because it's very pixelated. like the other images we've had of Pluto so far. It's very blocky, and these are large pixelated areas here, which you should really expect at this point of the operation. But when you look up into the top left corner here, these supposed troughs between these areas of frozen mud or whatever they're supposed to be, there's this up here. Now we've got a scale for this map, for this image, which is 20 miles here. Now if I actually clipped this 20-mile ruler and then rotated it round and measured this thing, and this is approximately 15 miles long, and it's perfectly straight. Now I thought that was very strange. It seems to have lost some information here and here. There's another one here, but this is probably more natural, but that also looks very straight in the center part here. And there's also, I can't remember where they are exactly, I think they're down here. There's also these, which I'll show you here, which look like a row. Initially I thought that was a row of craters, but how could you possibly have a row of craters that are identical? There's at least 4 there. There's probably more that which are a bit fudged out and don't show up in the image because it's quite low res. But there's 4 symmetrical dome-like structures in a row there, and there's some more up here, which are identical in size. Now I do appreciate that this is distorted because it's a long way off and it's very pixelated. So I'm not going to draw too many conclusions from this, but I'll show you the enhancements I've done. And let's look at it a little bit more closely and you'll see what I'm getting at. Now, here's that area first. That's the area I just showed you up in the top left. And here are those strange, now these are supposedly troughs. In other words, these are separating these areas of material, which is kind of frozen mud and whatever. I don't know the exact makeup of the terrain. I don't think they do yet either. So let me show you where to look. There we go. And we got this 4 symmetrical structures in a row. Now I don't really see how that can be natural. For some reason my computer keeps going light and dark. I don't know what's going on there. There we go. I think that's all right now. Right, and you can see clearly that there's 4 structures here. There's another one here which is the same size. This is offset, and there seems to be a couple here which are blurred out. What I'll do, these are only very, very basic enhancements I've done here, just to show you quickly. I will do a few more to put them in at the end of the video, so you can see them a little bit more closely and pause them and stuff. So I'll do a couple more enhancements, and if I find anything else that I can bring out, I will put that in also. There it is. I've just changed the color temperature there. It doesn't really make it any clearer. Like I said, these images are low quality, and we're still a long way off. So I shouldn't really expect too much detail. There it is in negative. You can clearly see that these are equally spaced, equally sized structures. So answers on the postcard. If you've got any idea what these are, leave a comment below. And here's the image showing these here and these over here. Now it almost looks to me as if these are cloned, i.e. like someone's got a clone brush and cloned a couple of these things and repeated them in the image. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's happened, but they look remarkably similar, these structures, and when you turn it to negative here, you can see them probably a little bit clearer there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's another one fudged out on the end, and probably a few more up here that you can't really see because it is a long way off, and there's a couple here. So I thought those were interesting. Let's have a look at this again. Now this is ruler straight, at least this part of it here is, and I'll show you the enhancement. And all I've done is darken it there and up the contrast. So you can see how straight that is, and it's basically 15 miles long, this thing here, and it looks like a tube-like structure with a shadow. Now it may not be a tube, it could be actually a trough, a very straight channel. It's impossible to say really which way round it is. We should be able to determine that from this image here by the light seems to be coming from the top left here. It's hard to say because what these actually look like are long tube-like structures which are actually in a trough between these areas of these plateaus of frozen ground here. So it's kind of like it's hard to explain. It's almost like a tube structure, a bit like the ones you might see on Mars, the glass tubes, which are in sort of little gullies, long gullies, and you see a tube running along it. It's hard to say. I mean, we don't have enough detail here to determine that yet. But these things do certainly look artificial to me. And even in these low-res compressed images that we've got here, it's possible to determine that these do not look natural. I mean, what the hell is that? These are symmetrical and the same size. Now, I do appreciate some of that can be down to pixelation, but when something is that large, like this thing, 15 miles long and that straight, now there's a bit of data missing here, and there's also some data missing here. What I would try and do is enhance this and see what else is joined to this thing, because there looks to be something interesting here. But I'm not going to promise too much because they are, like I said, they're low-res images, and they've been resized as well, and this is a composite image as well, so it's not great. But there are some old structures here, and there's another straight, I just noticed that, there's another straight piece here, which is perfectly straight, look. And that kind of joins up to this. Could this be a tube system? I mean, I don't see how nature could build a tube-like structure like this that straight. And nature, as it says in the film Prometheus, nature does not build in, Mother Nature does not build in straight lines. So there we go. I'll put some clips of these in at the end. If I find anything else and dig anything else out here, I will put it in also. Okay, thanks for watching everybody. See you soon.